Where you at,
If
Berto?
you've never been in a relationship, watch this. Let's get right into the video and see what this is about, man. I'd imagine it's going to be giving some advice on how to maybe get in a relationship or how to cope with the feeling of loneliness. Let's get into it. I'm gonna give y'all my opinion, my feedback. Come on, man, you already know what it is. Where you at, family?
First boyfriend at the age of 22.
I've never had the comfort of someone's arms around me.
As someone who's never been in a long-term serious relationship, I feel like I am constantly in a state where I never feel good enough.
When you're the only person out of everyone you know who's never had a relationship, you start to ask yourself a lot of questions. Is there something wrong with me? Am I doing something wrong? Will I be single forever?
If you're still single, there must be something wrong with you.
When did it become normal to romantically talk to 7 people at the same time?
The more you think about it, the more reasons come up. It's because I'm too independent. I'm too focused on school. I'm too focused on work. My standards are too high. There's an endless list that you create for yourself. When everyone around you seems to have a relationship or relationships seem to come easy to them, your endless list of reasons why you're single just gets longer and longer. What if the problem isn't actually you? What if it's something much more minute instead? Hey, if you're new, I'm Christina and I make videos for people who are feeling lonely. If you're a people pleaser, overachiever, overthinker, over anythinger, then you're in the right place. You are an 18, 19, 20, 23, 25, maybe even 30-year-old who's never had a relationship, this will probably consume a lot of your mental capacity. Like when you're surrounded by other people your age, who's on their like second boyfriend, their third girlfriend, they're moving in with their partner, they're talking about starting a family, you can't help but think, is there something I'm doing wrong? You can't help but question certain things. Is there something I'm doing wrong? Is there something that I'm missing? Will I be single forever? Because you ask yourself all these questions, you start to come up with answers. And in your head, you start to think, oh, it's because I'm too independent.
I'll say this. I feel like, how do I say this without coming off insensitive? It's not necessarily that something is wrong with you, but what I've noticed is a lot of people struggle putting themselves out there. So if you end up in this position, I don't want to say that you're not trying, but I got to be honest with you. At some point, you got to look in the mirror and realize that you're not that special. And I don't mean to be insensitive, but realistically, like, hear me out. I think a lot of people like to adopt the victim mindset. For you to never be in a relationship all the way up into your 30s, you gotta think, how much are you actually putting yourself out there? And then when you do put yourself out there and you feel, you get pushed down or whatever, or people aren't resonating with you, it's like there's always different types of people. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're not in the right space. Maybe you're not looking in the right area. Maybe you genuinely need to work on yourself. Maybe you genuinely need to improve your communication skills. So there's just so many different factors and it's different for everybody. So I definitely don't want to sound insensitive, man. I know we all go through different things, but I think the day you make that mental switch to really start to work on yourself and connect with other people, it becomes a lot easier, And one thing that is true though, and this will probably be the overall message that can kind of end the video right here, honestly, is all of that's great. Putting yourself out there is great. Working on yourself is great, yada, yada, yada. But if you don't truly love yourself, if you don't truly learn to appreciate yourself and, build yourself up, sometimes there's so much negativity that we like read into our minds, talk bad about ourselves and say we're not good enough, blah, blah, blah. If like this is your mentality, then people are going to pick up on that energy, bro. Like that is so clear when you're walking around and you just kind of have this cloud over your head. You're like a Debbie Downer. You're always negative. That's not gravitating energy. That's not the type of energy that people gravitate towards, believe it or not, especially the older you get. Like people don't want to, like, there's already enough going on in the world. So yes, while you're kind of self-pitying yourself, again, sorry if I sound negative. Like I don't want to, I know it's hard. I know people are going through things, but I really encourage you to stop being negative, build yourself up, recognize that you were handcrafted by God and you are just as special and unique as everybody else on this world, or not special as or unique as everybody in this world. That's what I'm trying to say is we're all going through stuff. We all have our problems. We all have our insecurities. So don't feel as if you're not good enough, because them motherfuckers aren't good enough either. The only difference is some people have tried. Some people, have qualities about them that are naturally more attractive to other people. And all you got to do is find where you fit in. So again, it's a little bit of a brutal, harsh truth, but I'm always going to get on here and give y'all my honest opinions. But yeah, man, learn to love yourself, learn to appreciate yourself, and make sure you are being positive to yourself and your mind. And that does so much for, you know, when it comes to building relationships with others.
Yo, real quick, if you like making money, I need you to watch this part of the video. If you don't like making money, then go ahead and skip it, but that really should be none of y'all. I know you guys have been seeing me promote this new app called Free Cash, and the big talk of the town is
this a scam, Berto? What is this?
well, look at this guy and this guy, all people from our community that are making money through the Free Cash app. The link is in the description. Even one person from my boy Astro Dior's community made $1,000 using the Free Cash app. I know it sounds crazy, but yes, you can make free money while playing games on your phone. But let me break this down in a very clear way for you guys so you know exactly what's going on. When you sign up for Free Cash using the link in my description, once you're in, you're gonna see a list of games pop up. You download them, you play them, you beat the levels, get to the certain requirements that they tell you to hit. And once you get there, you're gonna get some credits sent to your account. Every single time you hit the requirements, you get paid real money. And they make the process so easy that you can cash out that money into your PayPal or even gift cards. And yes, it is completely free to use. Now, there are some options where you can spend a little cheese to get through the level faster, but you don't need to do that. The reason why this is even possible is because these games are trying to get new players onto their platform. So they pay free cash to pay you to get people to play the game. Now, I know I showed you a crazy example of somebody making up to $1,000, which it's possible, but realistically, it might take some time. This is just an easy way you can make an extra 10, maybe 20 bucks, just doing something that you guys probably do for free anyway. So if you're gonna be bullshitting on your phone playing games, why not get paid? So if you've been on the fence, this is your sign. Click the link in my description and try out a few games. And when you make your money, take a screenshot and send it to me, bro, because I want to see y'all make that cheese. Because if I'm winning, I want to make sure y'all winning too. I love y'all. Y'all know what to do. Link in the description, and you're gonna get a $5 bonus using my shit. Now let's get right back to the video. Where you at, family?
Independent. It's because I'm focused too much on school. It's because I'm focused too much on my work. It's because I'm too ambitious. I'm too intimidating. I'm too this, too that. Fill in the blank. Because you're coming up with all these sort of excuses as to why you've not found your person, why you're single, why something that comes so easily to everyone else is quite hard for you. This list in your head, you don't realize it at first, but it slowly starts to make you feel a little bit insecure. Like, oh, I'm going to be behind when I eventually do get in a relationship. There's going to be so many things that I don't know. I'm going to have no experience. I literally saw a TikTok the other day. I think it was like a clip from a YouTube video where they were asking, how long was your longest relationship?
What's our longest relationship?
Never been in a relationship.
Oh, ouch.
Wow.
It's the worst. So now we know, worst kisser, worse in bed.
Damn.
These are the things we worry about.
Just because he ain't never been in a relationship doesn't mean he never hit a hoe. Shit.
When you're that guy who's never had a relationship and you think, oh no, but you know, I research, I read up on dating and relationships and communication, like you watch TikToks and dating advice, like it's not like you're completely inept on how to manage a relationship or how to communicate. But this sort of thing makes you panic in the back of your mind because is that what people really think? I think a lot of people who are slightly older and have never been in a relationship, I feel like we have a fear of love or a fear of like closeness, maybe even fear of intimacy, you could say.
Have you ever been in love?
I've never been in love before.
These TikToks are always hit home in just such a sad way.
I've actually never been in a relationship. I think that as soon as someone starts liking me, I mentally can't accept it, so I kind of just run away. I just get like a very strong physical ick if someone expresses like that they're into me. I like them until they like me. Yeah.
Do you think there's like a bit of fear around closeness with someone?
I think so. I think maybe I just get freaked out with the concept of attachment to someone. I grew up in...
That hurts me to, you know, I'm not gonna put nobody's business out there, so no names, but like I was talking to somebody that, you know, I rock with, and they was telling me how it's like they have a fear of being attached to somebody. And I think what happens sometimes in relationships, you become so reliant on a person emotionally, you know, physically, just everything, that sometimes that relationship can kind of consume, you know, you as a person. So people be scared of like people be scared to get attached, and then for whatever reason it doesn't work out, and then boom, you're kind of left like feeling like this big hole in your heart, this big like a piece of you is missing because you put so much into that person. But again, this is why I say like the best thing you can do is really love yourself, really feel fulfilled with yourself, but not to just stay independent. But when you go into a relationship like truly like knowing what you bring to the table and truly like feeling secure with like, yo, no, I'm good. yeah, it's gonna hurt when you lose a relationship and things don't necessarily work out. Of course, like we're human. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like that shit not gonna hurt my feelings. Like it definitely will. But, you also are secure enough to bounce back and be like, at the end of the day, I went into this okay, and I'm gonna be okay after it, and I'm gonna be able to, even have more experience and more, like knowledge on how to move and how not to move. One thing that you guys should never do is operate from a place of fear. So I feel like sometimes people be scared to get in a relationship because they really just scared of that pain. But one thing I've always realized in life is running away from pain has never been the right answer. Running away, trying to take the easy way out. It is easier to sit there and kind of just be like, oh, love's not for me. No, there's nobody out there for me. As crazy as it sounds, I know it's sad. There's some lonely nights, but it's easier to just accept that, you're not good enough. It's actually a lot harder to go deal with somebody else's energy and, really fall in love and get into something deep. And then that shit might not work out. That's the scary part because it's not necessarily certain. You know what I'm saying? And this life is full of uncertainty. So I really do encourage y'all, don't operate from a place of fear, man. Take that risk and don't be afraid of losing, because the only big thing that comes with L's that a lot of y'all don't, take for granted is like those be lessons, bro. Those lessons is how you gain experience and how you become a better and stronger person, because you're learning from, all the things that you're going through in life.
In Norway with my mom, and my dad lived in France. They actually were never married, but they were never together. So I don't know, maybe I've had like a weird perspective on the idea of family.
She gets the ick when someone likes her. She likes them up until they like her back. I don't want to hyperfixate on the words that she's used, like ick and like freaked out, because what she's describing, I think a lot of other people will also experience, but they won't use the word ick. I can relate to some of what she's describing. I don't get the ick if someone likes me, but I panic. Like it's literally like, honestly, a fight or flight situation where I'm like genuinely scared. What I found interesting was in the comments, a lot of people were talking about an avoidant attachment style. There is an amazing book which does a deep dive on all the attachment styles. I'd highly recommend it actually, especially if you're someone who's never had a relationship or someone who has like unhealthy, maybe toxic relationships. It's called Attached. I'll link it down below. This book, it's one of the books you'll read and you get a whole new perspective on yourself. Like you learn about you. You're reading the book and you're like, oh my God, this guy is describing me. That was what happened when I opened the book and read the avoidant attachment chapters. When you're an avoidant attached person, they are the stereotypical hyper independent, focused on their jobs, focused on work, climbing the corporate ladder. I don't need friends. I don't need relationships. I don't want to be distracted. I just want to focus on my work. I have a feeling if you're slightly older, not been in relationships, my guess is that you'd probably lean more avoidant, because as time goes on in your life and you're a bit more grown up now, you've graduated, you've got a job, you're focusing on yourself, maybe you've got your own place, you're like working on yourself and you're preoccupied with all the amazing things you've got going on in your life, that you probably see relationships and especially dating, because dating and going on first dates and then relationships are quite different. I'd actually consider myself quite a good dater, because I've been on so many, I've been speed dating so many times with I've done it on my own and then I've done it with friends, because it's always funny with friends. But then in actual relationships where it's long term, I'm just with one person, I have to get really
it's completely different.
Close and open up and be honest, which normally makes me panic. That I have no experience with. And I have a feeling for me, it's because of my avoidant attachment style, and because just closeness is a bit scary. It doesn't feel safe in my mind. Maybe that's why I always panic. It just feels like something I should worry about, and this isn't safe. Something else you probably do if you're someone who's never been in a relationship, you probably hyperfixate on your flaws. When you ask yourself certain questions. Why am I still single? Why has no one asked me out? Why does no one ever look at me like how they look at her? Why does no one ever compliment me? Why do I never get comments on my Instagram?
And this is what I was kind of saying in my little yap, is just hyper fixating on all the negative and, constantly breaking yourself down in ways that, guys, the best way I can explain it is, back in high school when we used to wake up with that big fat pimple and be like, oh my God, I'm chopped cheese now. And, we're doing everything possible to try to hide the pimple. And it's just 9 times out of 10, then you go to school You talking to your homie, and somehow in the conversation it comes up, we're like, damn, bro, you know, I'm just so fucking chopped right now, this pimple. And then they're like, oh, I didn't even notice that shit. You know, that's 90% of our flaws, man. Like, especially the little petty shit that nobody even cares about. Like, we gotta stop breaking ourselves down and being so negative. Your mind and the way you perceive yourself is so important.
And pictures that say like, oh, stunning or beautiful, gorgeous. Why is it only ever the people that I don't like that approach me? Why is it the people that I'm not interested in that ask me out? When you ask yourself these questions,
and there's so much power in the tongue, man. Sometimes when you say stuff like that, you know, that will become reality. You know, God is powerful, boy. You over here talking about, oh, why do people that I don't like approach me? Why does this always happen to me? Why is only bad things happen to me? Like, okay, you keep saying that, then yeah, bad things gonna keep happening. Yeah, the wrong people gonna keep getting attracted to you. So it's just like, you really gotta switch your brain from being negative to being positive, bro. Like, I don't even allow negative thoughts to like exist in my brain. And anytime they do pop up, because I'm human, you know, it happens, I like instantly like reject it. I'm like, you know, no, hell no. Fuck that is not my life. I don't know who's talking. I don't know what's going on in my brain right now, but that is not me. And God, you know, erase that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. I reject that shit. I reject negative thoughts. I'm only positive in my mind. Like, I'm only here to win.
You start to create a list. I'm going to call it like the endless list. It's like an endless list of reasons, excuses as to what's wrong with you. I have never had a boyfriend. I've never experienced love, and I've never done anything romantic at all. And I feel behind. Most of the people I know have had some experience and I've had nothing. I fear I don't even know what to do if I was in a relationship. I feel like this was me for a really long time. Like, I feel so experienced. I've not done anything romantic. I wouldn't know what to do. It's weird because you have this endless list of reasons why you've not had a relationship, and the list gets longer and longer, and you kind of flesh out this list. You really believe the list. And what I've noticed is if you ask yourself certain questions, your brain will just come up with answers. For example, if I said, oh yeah, think about, like right now, have a think about why global warming is at an all-time high. You can probably tell me like, not enough recycling, too much landfill, not enough electric cars. There's still so many like petrol cars, gas cars, diesel. You'd be able to come up with like a million answers. And then if I told you, oh yeah, sit on that question for the next few months, for the next few years, you'd probably come up with more and more answers as to why climate change is so bad. You'd come up with you'd probably start.
But this is the thing, man. You could do you could literally, and this is what a lot of people just don't do. This exact method that she's giving y'all when it's talking about the negative. Why do I only attract people that I'm not into? Why do bad things only happen to me? You literally can switch that frame of thinking to, how do I become a better person? How do I, you know, be in rooms with people that are like-minded individuals? I want to be in rooms that are like-minded individuals. I want to be more of a confident person. I am a confident person. I am, you know, someone that knows what they want. I am secure with myself. I am beautiful. I am handsome. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can literally change the way you talk to yourself and brainwash. The same way you brainwash yourself with negative thoughts, you can brainwash yourself with positive thoughts, and it will completely change, you know, the way you move through life.
To research it, you'd ask yourself questions. You'd probably start to look on TikTok as well, because you're going to like ruminate on it. Just like how you can think and ruminate on climate change and why climate change is so bad. You probably unconsciously chosen to ruminate on why you're still single. And that's why you have such like insecurity about it, or so many questions, because that's your question of choice to ruminate on. And what I like to say is, like, if you ask a bad question, you're going to get bad answers. But if you ask a good question, you'd get good answers. I feel like a more empowering question, or a more like confidence boosting question to ask yourself is like, okay, so why am I such a good person? Why would I be a great person to go out with? Why would I be a good partner?
Look at that. And this is what I'm talking about. This is good advice. I'm glad she said it. You know, I said it first. It is what it is. I'm so petty. I'm like, yeah, I said it first. Yeah. But nah, man, this is beautiful advice. These are the questions that you need to be asking yourself. Like, yes, bro, there's a time and place where, you know, you got to be real with yourself. You have to, like, you know, dive deep and, you know, acknowledge your flaws, because sometimes those are flaws that can be improved upon. But there's a positive and a negative way to do it. Too many times and too much people beat themselves up. I know, because I used to be one of those people, you know what I'm saying? I used to be the type of person that, you know, I would joke about the hardships in my life. I would think it's funny. I'd make jokes like, yeah, of course that would happen to me. Why wouldn't it? This is always my life. Bad things always happen to me. It's like I would say shit like that and, laugh it off, thinking that I was secure because I was not letting it bother me. I was laughing at my pain and my hardship. But it's like, hell no. Like, I don't do that no more. It's like, fuck no. When bad shit happens to me, I'm like, that's an anomaly, because bad shit don't happen to me. My life is good. I'm overly blessed. You know what I'm saying? I wake up every day happy as fuck. I don't have bad days. I only have good days. That's how I talk to myself, for real. Like, I'm telling you, bro, change your frame of thinking to just a positive. Everything that you was thinking negatively, switch it to positive and literally tell yourself, lie to yourself. I don't literally lie to yourself. Because you do it with the negative shit. Nigga, we be negative about shit that hasn't even happened to us. You over here playing out a million scenarios that haven't even happened to yet. So it's not even reality. But yet you brainwashing your shit with negative thoughts. So do the same thing with positive. Lie to yourself. Fake it till you make it, man.
Why would someone be lucky to be with me? It sounds cringe. Like, even as I'm saying it, I'm like, that sounds like proper weird. Like, I hope no one downstairs can hear me. But like, if you sit and ruminate on all the negative parts of you, or all the parts of you that are too much because you're too hardworking, too independent, too intimidating, if you ruminate on that too much, you're going to believe it and it's going to become valid in your mind. It's going to be so valid that you're like, oh yeah, this is the reason why I'm single. Like, you're going to lead with that. Versus if you lead with like a more empowering question, why am I a great person? Why would someone be lucky to be with me? And you ruminate on that, you're going to then lead with a more positive aspect. Another common thing that I've noticed that we maybe all have, those of us that have never had a long-term relationship, is that sometimes we think being single is better than settling. For example, give this video a thumbs up if you've ever thought like, oh, there's no one around me that I know.
And there's some truth to that. I definitely don't think anybody should be out here settling, but I think a lot of people mistake settling for just literally being scared. You don't want to settle, right? But the reality is you also don't want to not take a risk because you're scared. There's a difference.
That's like quite on my level. Like, no one's quite good enough. No one meets my standard. I'm too intimidating for everyone. Like, I just don't think anyone would like handle me. I do believe being single is better than settling. However, I think that we have like really disproportionate fear of settling. I think settling to different people means different things. To me, I've learned after reading an incredible book called How to Not Die Alone by Logan Ury. In her book, she really taught me this.
What a depressing title.
Settling isn't like going out with a person like way, way, way below your level of standard, and they're unemployed, they're in terrible health, they don't look after themselves, they've got terrible hygiene. Settling, from what she described in the book, and like what I now see settling as, is like you find someone who is really amazing, like they actually really inspire.
One thing that I'll tell y'all this, because I'm gonna get my shit off. Like, y'all be walking away from people that have 90% of everything you like and 10% bullshit. Recognize this. You're not perfect. Nobody on this earth is perfect. We all got baggage. We all got skeletons in our closets. We've all done things that we're not proud of. We all have bad habits that we're not proud of that we still currently do. So when you find somebody who really fits the bill, man, you know what I'm saying? They got your sense of humor, they're into things that you're into, or maybe they're not into things you're into, but you enjoy learning the things that they're into and they enjoy learning the things that you're into, and you guys, you genuinely mesh well together. And there's just like one or two things that, maybe a little bit like, I don't really love when they do that, but it's not a make or break. Y'all be walking away from that. And it's like, bro, you're never gonna find somebody that's just fucking perfect, gang. And that's why I said I have like it's really like 80-20 rule. I feel like if your standards are really high, maybe you can make it 90-10. But like, if somebody got 80% of what you want out of a relationship, or make you feel like 80% fulfilled, I'd say that's good odds, bro. I'd take that chance on that 20. You know what I'm saying? Now, sometimes those small things are make or break situations. Like, I don't know, you could tell that they're promiscuous, and, you know, in my case, they have like a lot of male friends, and they're always, you know, the life of the party, partying and you know, out every weekend, kind of being a degenerate. So, but everything else is perfect. You know, I don't know if I can overlook that small thing, you know, especially if it doesn't seem like they're willing to like slow down that lifestyle to, you know, pursue something serious. So sometimes that is the case where, like, yeah, they're 80% everything you want, but that 20% is just too big for something for me to stomach. So yeah, you pass on that. But what, you don't like the way they fucking laugh or some shit? Or are their laughs a little bit obnoxious? Or I don't know, sometimes they wear that one shirt that, you know, you kind of don't think looks good on them, but it's like their favorite shirt. Like, stupid petty ass shit. Like, I've had girls tell me that they don't like the way they nigga walk. That's the way why they want to leave him. I'd be like, so nigga takes care of you, he makes you feel good, he, you know what I'm saying, he does everything, but you think about breaking up with him because you don't like the way the nigga walks? My point exactly, man. Like, come on, be reasonable.
They're a lovely person, they're so funny. There's a few areas where you're not 100% compatible, and your instinct might be like, oh, well, you know, it's not going to work because they have different beliefs around private education versus public education. Maybe they have different political beliefs. When there's
Look at that. You know, motherfuckers don't even have kids talking about, oh, well, I'm not going to be with you because I want my kids to be in private school. Bitch, you don't even have kids.
a minor incompatibility, I now see that as like, this could be an area where you can actually communicate and work on things rather than just completely abandon this person, abandon this relationship. But I've noticed for sure we're hyper selective now. And I feel like the list of things that qualifies as a red flag is just getting lower and lower. Like, a red flag used to be you show up to the date late, you're rude to the waitress, you speak about women on the date in a derogatory way. It almost used to be like red flags reflect your values and things that are like non-negotiable. But now I feel like red flags are almost becoming a bit gimmicky, and like anything can be a red flag. Yeah. Wearing the wrong outfit could be a red flag. Having like dirty trainers could be a red flag. I've realized you have to kind of differentiate kind of a red flag and a non-negotiable from just like a flaw that someone has. Because we all have flaws, but we never sit and think about what are the flaws that I'd happily accept what my partner has, and what are some of the red flags that I just will not put up with. And this is how I now see settling. Like, I know my partner will have flaws because I have flaws, but I now have to think, okay, these are the flaws I'm happy to settle for. Like, I'm happy to settle for maybe dirty trainers, because who doesn't have dirty trainers in the UK? It is literally raining.
She said that about like 4 times, and I still don't know what the hell that is. Can somebody explain what the hell that is?
Outside. Or a flaw I'm completely happy to accept is not having a work-life balance, because I don't have a work-life balance. Completely okay with my partner having flaws, and they could be the flaws that I have, they could be different flaws. I just accept, and I'm happy to settle for flaws.
You have to, though. You literally have to be able to settle for flaws.
Any red flag is a future argument, is how I see it. Like, a red flag for me, something that could be a future argument, is like someone expecting me to like be more chilled and to work less. Like that, like we'd have an argument over that, because that's just like my value. One of my values is just like to fulfill my purpose. Like I find purpose and joy in working a lot. I really do. I have a healthier balance with it now. But if someone told me like, you need to rest more, you're always too busy, you're working too much, have your weekend off, like we would have beef. Videos online will tell you to like script and manifest your perfect partner and write a list of all the things that you want them to have. But I think equally, just so your expectations are realistic, it's helpful to write a list of all the flaws that you're okay with them having. That being said, I don't want you guys, especially if I know some of you guys are slightly younger, do not put relationships on a pedestal. Relationships are not a prize. And the reason why is because not all relationships are created equal. Like, you might look at some relationships and be like, oh wow, their relationship's perfect. I see comments like that on.
Yeah, but you also don't know what the fuck is not perfect about the relationship. You know what I'm saying? They might be super intimate and touchy with each other, which looks cute and amazing on the internet, but they probably could be very toxic, you know, with each other mentally or not. It doesn't matter. The fact is you don't know, you know, the pros and cons of their relationship. That's why you can never pedestalize anybody else's relationship or even compare, bro.
TikToks like, wow, goals. I wish this was me. I wish a boy would treat me this way. A relationship is not a prize. Please bear in mind, any relationship that you go into, you are bringing yourself with it. Like your life, your tone of voice, your thinking, they all come into the relationship with you. You cannot leave yourself behind. If there's a certain part of—
And that's why I say, you know, the more secure you are, the more, you know, happy and the more you love yourself, that is the best time to be in a relationship. You know, I think so many times people be like, oh, I'm in my just working on me bag, you know, I'm locked in on me right now. You know, sometimes in my brain, you know, when you know, if you truly aren't happy and secure with yourself, then fine. But when you kind of in that flow state and everything is just like hitting, you're happy, you don't wake up sad, you don't have a lot of negative thoughts, and you just really like in your flow state, sometimes I genuinely feel like that's a great place for you to be in a relationship because one, you're secure enough to know that you're not gonna get knocked off your pivot because of some bullshit. So it's like somebody's not just gonna walk up in your life and just start ripping shit apart and you're just gonna fall apart because it's like, no, you're secure. You got your routine. You know what you need to do to make this shit shake. So when you can find somebody that you can work into your life, and you know you make sacrifices here and there to build with that person because you know what you bring to the table, it's like it's just a matter of what they're bringing to the table and if y'all want to sit there and eat together for real. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it comes down to, because when you got two motherfuckers that have some actual value to bring to the table, it can be a feast. Like, let's eat. It's Thanksgiving every damn day.
You that feels like you're always self-sabotaging and you ruin things before they can get good. You always shut down things that are going well. Bear in mind, if you had your goals relationship, goals boyfriend, goals girlfriend, you are bringing yourself with it. Like sometimes the dream relationship is not the prize at all, because if it got handed to you right now, you actually wouldn't have the secure attachment, the open communication, the healthy boundaries, the ability to handle flaws and understand the difference between flaws and red flags. You wouldn't be able to handle it, and it wouldn't work out. The real prize, in my view, is not the relationship. The real prize is the person that you become in the process of trying to get a relationship. Everyone has a desire for a relationship. I know it's a bit embarrassing to admit that, like, oh, I want a relationship, I want a boyfriend. As a human, it's literally in our DNA. Like, even if you don't want to admit it.
We're on this earth to literally, like, we're literally on this earth to find a partner, reproduce, raise those kids to be amazing human beings so that they can one day do the same thing and continue our motherfucking bloodline. So, like, yeah, like anybody on here flaunting and capping, they don't want a relationship. I mean, maybe you're not ready for one, and that's fine, fair enough. But don't sit here like that is not a healthy way to be walking this earth, where it's like, oh no, I just want to be alone forever. I don't need nobody. It's just me against the world. It's just like, nah, bro, that's not what we were created to do, bro.
You don't want to be like embarrassing and be like, oh, I do want a boyfriend. Like, we all at our core do want love and companion around us, whether that's partner, family, friends. But I really don't see a boyfriend as the prize. Like, I see me becoming a better version of myself that can communicate honestly. She is the prize. Like, that is the prize. Because she's the person that can handle the relationship well. She's the person that's not going to sabotage and self-sabotage and ruin it before it even gets anywhere. And on this note, not all relationships are created equal. Honestly, speaking to some people that I've known from like way back to high school, a lot of the things I hear are people complaining and like complaining about things. They're unhappy with their relationship. They're not happy with the treatment they're getting. They wish they could leave, but they stay because they're too scared to leave. Please don't think that everyone else is having a better time than you just because they're in a relationship. Because
this is great advice too, because again, I think a comparison's the thief of joy, bro. Like, there's a honeymoon phase in a relationship where it feels like nothing goes wrong, but just like with friendships, just like with family, when you really in that motherfucker and you really are in a relationship, you know, the rose-colored glasses slowly start to come off and you kind of those flaws start to stick out a little bit more. But the best relationship that you can be in and the place that you want to get to is unconditional love, man. You know, and unconditional disrespect, lying, stealing, cheating, that doesn't fall in unconditional love, you know, because again, without respect, the relationship dies. Let me tell y'all this: love will never be enough for a relationship. Respect has to come first. So when you truly respect your partner and you can love your partner unconditionally with respect on both ends, they respect you, you respect them. You know, I think that's where you want to be, bro, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, they're going to do things that piss you off here and there. Yeah, you know, you guys are going to have disagreements, but the end goal is to really be with somebody that's gonna have your back to the end. So, you know, don't block your blessings, man, and put anybody that hasn't been in a relationship yet, and you know you're still trying to obtain that, continue to work on yourself, but change your mind frame of thinking, bro. I think, you know, I don't want to be insensitive, I said this already, but chances are you really are breaking yourself down and being overly negative, and that's, you know, that's the energy that you putting out. It's like, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not that. It's like, no, you are good enough. And you know, yeah, you have flaws, but you're going to improve on them flaws, and you're going to continue to be a better person for yourself. So maybe one day you can bring your value to the table as somebody's bringing theirs to you.
Where you at, Berto?
I made this shit look too easy.